Hey everyone, good to see you again. In my last video where I was playing abandoned games, I mentioned in the beginning that I've been playing popular games and getting bored, but I feel like talking about one of them would make a decent video. The game in question being the Modern Warfare 2 reboot. I've been playing this game a lot and have been enjoying it somewhat so far. Thing is though, multiplayer is kind of off. There's a wide variety of issues that can affect it even on a major scale, like terrible hit registration, packet burst and loss, frame rate and stuttering issues, general poor optimization, poor use of skill-based matchmaking, bad spawn system, annoying crashing, lag that appears out of nowhere no matter how good your internet is, the list goes on. Now this isn't really a review, this is just a short video of me talking about how I feel about the current state of the game and some other mumbo jumbo involving Activision, Microsoft, and Modern Warfare 3. The reboot, I mean. As for making a review on everything this game has to offer, the idea of making that is possible, but I don't know if I actually want to do that. Also, before I start talking, there's a good chance I will get some information wrong, so if there's something I get wrong during this video, please point it out in the comments. But anyway, let's get to it. Starting with the technical issues, they've been around since the launch of the game. There were massive reports of crashes and poor optimization, and to this day it seems like it's either getting worse or nothing's being done in general. And no matter how many times you verify your files, the problems you have will come back depending on how unlucky you are. And even when I do manage to play a match eventually, most of the time I get invaded with unnecessary packet loss and bursting, and sometimes the game likes to spice it up with latency variation. I thought it was coming from my end, but due to how constant this issue is and the amount of times I try to fix it to no avail, I highly doubt it. Aside from packet bursting, you'll most likely encounter a little stuttering and terrible hit registration, which is super annoying. In fact, it's gotten so bad that people believe there was some sort of thing called skill-based hit detection, which is a system that determines if your bullets hit and how much damage your bullets deal towards an enemy depending on your skill level. Now, is skill-based hit detection real? Nope. Their hitboxes and servers are just handled very poorly. Although, to be fair, low ping doesn't always mean you have good registry. Ping doesn't give you the full information about your connection quality. It's really just time taken for data to go from your computer to the game server, or in other terms, how long does it take from the computer to get a text back from the game server. So there's a good chance something's being faulty from the inside. Or it could be Ricochet anti-cheat's damage shield that somehow might be messing up gunfights for players that aren't even cheating, which probably adds to the claim that skill-based hit detection exists, but I'm not entirely sure if that's the case, so I can't confirm that for sure. I don't mean what I said in an Activision is manipulating your gameplay type of way, but more of a this is due to poor coding type of way. But regardless, it seems blatant that they do jack shit to fix their servers, or at least do anything with them. Speaking of poor management though, let's move on to skill-based matchmaking. Now, skill-based matchmaking, if implemented properly, would just put you in matches with players who are around the same skill level as you are, but in the newer Call of Duty games, it feels very inconsistent and does the complete opposite. It will put you in matches either with people who don't know how to play the game or absolute bloodthirsty sweats. It's like a fucking casino. So one moment you'll go from this, and in the other moment you'll go to this. Add in the bad hit registration and all those other issues mentioned and you're basically fighting the game itself to have a fair match, which is what multiplayer feels like most of the time. Plus, these issues have been around ever since Modern Warfare 2019 and Warzone 1.0 were released, and it looks like the poor optimization and terrible skill-based matchmaking have carried over to this game as well. Now, skill-based matchmaking as a whole is fine, but it's obvious that Activision has no idea how to actually implement it properly, and they most likely don't want to knowing who they are. In fact, what they have instead is engagement optimized matchmaking, which is a system that focuses on keeping players engaged in the game rather than their skill level. It will study things like how long you play the game, when you play, what guns you use, and what bundles you buy. So basically, this seems very manipulative, since they're trying to make you improve your skill for nothing, and considering Activision, it's no surprise something like this is even added. Why not just add in proper skill-based matchmaking and let players get into fair matches into the game? Why not have something like Halo 3 system, where you're actually rewarded for improving your skill? Unlike Modern Warfare 2 where the game decides whether you have fun or not. Now, skill-based matchmaking has been around since Call of Duty 4, but it wasn't as bad as this new system that's been around since Modern Warfare 2019. The old games worked pretty fine unlike the newer ones. In general, this game just feels very annoying to play because of how poorly handled it is, unless you play Spec Ops, Campaign, and maybe even DMZ. The funny part is they had 10 or 11 studios and I think 3,000 developers, and somehow the game was plagued with issues and poor optimization at launch, and even still to this day. And props to the developers that are forced to deal with Bobby Kotick's bullshit too. Let's move on to Activision and how they represent themselves as an actual company. We'll get to the Microsoft stuff in a bit. You have to keep in mind that this is the same company with multiple allegations of sexual harassment and discrimination. One example is a former Sledgehammer Games employee who was raped twice in 2016 and 17 by her supervisor named Javier Panameño after she was pressured into drinking alcohol and getting drunk. The employee filed the police report as well as taking it to human resources, but she wasn't taken seriously there and was asked to describe her situation in a more positive manner, even though she was raped and no action was taken either. Her lawyer sent an email about her situation in 2018 and Activision decided to handle it with an out-of-court settlement. However, the CEO of Activision Blizzard, Bobby Kotick, did not tell the board that the Sledgehammer employee was raped twice or even about the settlement. As for Panameño, he was fired 2 months after the email was sent. In the same email, it was revealed that there was another case also involving a Sledgehammer employee named Edward Rawrick sexually harassing another employee named Ashley Mark. Only this time, he was given a 2-week paid leave and remained at a different position at Activision. There was also yet another case of sexual harassment at Treyarch Studios where a former co-studio head named Dan Bunting sexually harassed a female employee in 2017. When he was being investigated, it was recommended that Bunting be fired and for a very good reason. But the worst part about this is how for some odd reason, Kotick stepped in and said, "Nope, you can't do that," and Bunting was allowed to stay, though later on he would resign on his own accord. It's not surprising since back in 2006, he also threatened to have one of his assistants killed, and the allegations go as far as harassing pregnant women, stealing their breast milk, and someone committing suicide from continued harassment. Now, at some point you have to ask, what the fuck was Bobby Kotick thinking? They've come up with excuses saying that there was no way he could have known about these cases beforehand because it's impossible to keep tabs on more than 10,000 employees, which I guess they're right about, but all of that is thrown out of the window when it's confirmed that he knew what was going on behind the scenes, especially with the rape case I just mentioned. So stop with the bullshit. You know what, fuck it, at this point it's pretty evident that these guys care more about sexually harassing their employees rather than actually fix their games. It's fucking foul. Fast forward to now, and Microsoft has gotten the approval of the courts to buy out Activision Blizzard for around $70 billion, which is serious fuck you money, and definitely the biggest acquisition Microsoft has ever made. However, they still have to deal with the negotiations with the CMA in the United Kingdom and the FTC here as of now, so there's that. Sony was even worried that the acquisition would sabotage Call of Duty on PlayStation's side, but obviously Microsoft didn't do that when they got the authority to buy Activision and allowed Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation. Besides, that would kill like 50% of their player base, so I don't know why Sony thought Call of Duty was going to be Xbox exclusive. I think the funny part about this though is how after the deal went through, the servers for the older Call of Duty games on Xbox were suddenly fixed and the matchmaking was improved, basically reviving them and shooting the player counts up by a high amount. Now at first I thought Activision did this since Microsoft was going to come in and do their own thing with the company anyway, but apparently Microsoft did this themselves, which just goes to show that Activision doesn't really know how to fix their servers or they just don't care at all. But definitely both though. The thing is though, I haven't been able to get a direct confirmation on whether Microsoft actually fixed them or not, which makes it seem like one or the other is true. I don't deny the fact that Microsoft fixed the servers themselves. In fact, I believe it, knowing Activision, but it would have been better to get a direct confirmation. The only way I heard about this was from this tweet right here, and since it just says there were sources close to Activision that confirmed it without a link, it just looks like, the source? Trust me bro, it's real. But still, I'm not denying the possibility. Also, I guess the whole server fix thing was a given knowing that Microsoft is always for backwards compatibility, which is good. However, the server fixes only apply to Xbox though, so for us PC players, we still got some problems, but I'll get into that in a little bit. As for Call of Duty going on Game Pass, the older games have a good chance of coming soon, possibly this year, but for the new games, they won't come on afterwards until 2025, which is the only downside, but it's still a bigger win for the older games coming to Game Pass, if they do come, so fingers crossed for that. This is due to the contract that Sony still has with Call of Duty, which will end in 2024, so the new Black Ops won't be affected by Sony. Some other good news about this deal is that Bobby Kotick will leave Activision when the deal is fully made after Microsoft does their thing with the negotiations and stuff. However, he'll walk out with at least $400 million, which sucks, but at least the people who were working for him don't have to deal with him anymore. And hopefully they'll fix the security issue that's been happening for some time as well, especially with Cold War and Black Ops 3. There were players on PC and console being attacked by hackers, like getting hit offline, having their game crash constantly, and getting their IPs exposed. The cause of this, mainly for the older games, is a vulnerability found in the games called CVE-2018-20817. It affects a function called the SV Steam Authenticator client, which is missing a size check when it reads the argument called Authenticator blob into a bluffer, which allows someone to execute code on the remote target machine when sending a Steam authentication request. According to the National Vulnerability Database, this is considered a critical score of 9.8 out of 10. It basically has a remote access Trojan on your own PC, which means people can get access to your personal files and information. This vulnerability affects games from the very first Call of Duty up to Cold War, but so far I've only heard of OG Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 3 and Cold War have these security issues. But still, do be careful when you're playing the old games, just to be sure. They even rolled out updates for Black Ops 3 and Cold War, and although they did fix some of the RCE exploits, people have still found ways to grab your IP and crash your game. There were also safer alternatives to play the older games as well, which are Plutonium, Call of Duty 4X, X Labs, the Black Ops 3 client or Boy client, and SM Squared. although technically SM2 wasn't playable since it was still in development. However, Activision decided to send cease and desist letters to these clients, forcing them to shut down, even while SM2 was still in development, and decided to move on to the Modern Warfare Remastered engine to continue the process. The only clients that weren't affected were Plutonium and Call of Duty 4X, and they still work as of now. Although the Black Ops 3 client is still available to download, there are still security vulnerabilities in the client, so it's not a good idea to play on that either. However, there is a community patch for Black Ops 3 created by Shiversoft Dev, which fixes many remote crashes that can be used to grief players and some other problems. If you want to download it, the link is in the description below alongside the tutorial on how to install it. Still, the thing is, if Activision was actually consistent and kept their game stable, then these clients probably wouldn't be made in the first place. At this point, they just keep proving the fact that they're an insufferable company. You guys know you can appeal to your investors while keeping your game stable at the same time, right? But it's not like they care about that anyway. As for the Modern Warfare 3 reboot that just got confirmed, I'm not sure what to say about it. I mean, I get that it was inevitable, but considering how they handled Modern Warfare 2, it feels like an experiment to see how players feel with the new stuff added to the game, and then they just come in and let Sledgehammer finish it off with a $70 game that looks more like an expansion pack. They advertised the fuck out of Modern Warfare 2, making it seem like the biggest and coolest entry in the franchise, alongside the sales making $1 billion within 10 days, being OG Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2. And when the game actually came out, a lot of players were frustrated with how the game actually turned out. Now, I have no problem with the game being hyped up like that, but if this game is going to be as good as you mark it out to be, then act like it. Stop believing your game's unstable and annoying to play. I mean, sure, the gameplay looks good in advance and adding in these type of bundles is fine, but making your game stable and playable comes a very long way. And also, don't add in these pay-to-win elements with some of the bundles for DMZ. That just completely defeats the purpose of cosmetics, and also fucking stupid. But the question for the Modern Warfare 3 reboot is, should you buy it? Well, probably not, but that's entirely up to you. I don't want to control what you buy. I have negative feelings for Modern Warfare 3 at this point. I mean, sure, Microsoft is winning and stuff, but Modern Warfare 3 is just another rush title with a $70 price tag. It's like Overwatch 2, but instead of it being free to play, you have to pay $70 to play it. There's also this tweet right here which confirms that everything you've earned from Modern Warfare 2, ranging from skins to blueprints, will carry over to Modern Warfare 3. Also, for us Zombies players, Outbreak is coming back as well. However, there's a good chance it won't turn out good, so be cautious if you're thinking about buying this game when it drops. However, if you are thinking about buying Modern Warfare 3, I think it's better if you wait until the beta releases for you to try out and the game releasing itself for like a week or even more than that before you make your final decision on whether you want to buy the game or not. My major problem is that why is this even being sold at $70? We already know that this is an expansion pack in reality, or at least Modern Warfare 2.5. And speaking of that, if you do want to buy this game but are worried about the pricing, wait for a sale. Don't get worried about the FOMO from cosmetics either. You won't really need them. The thing is, Modern Warfare 2 could have been a year 2 game. But nope, here's an expansion pack for $70. It feels like you're getting ripped off at this point. And who knows, maybe this is Sledgehammer's chance of redemption from their losing streak with World War II and Vanguard, especially with the Microsoft acquisition. Hopefully it helps them out as well. If I do sound like I'm trying to control what you buy or overly negative, I do apologize. I just have high doubts for Call of Duty after it was handled so poorly multiple times. But hey, like I said, Microsoft can change that, so I hope they do. But fuck it, overall I hope everything goes well for us. Maybe not with Modern Warfare 3, but just in general. Oh yeah, and as a side note, if you are genuinely frustrated with the current state of Modern Warfare 2 right now, please move on to a different game, like Ultra Kill. That game is more deserving of your time and money. Seriously, the stress isn't worth it. But yeah, hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one soon. Happy hunting.